morning. Welcome to another fun-filled night here on Spirit Connections with Tiffany Rice. It's been forever. I'm so excited to actually be back in the studio and have this time. I know my schedule's been here, there, and everywhere, but I've been getting flooded with a lot of emails and people just questioning when I'm coming back because I always bring on such lovely guests. So today I have a very special friend of mine. Her name is Rachelle Croteau. How are you?
I'm great, Tiffany. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you're here. This is your first time appearing on Spirit Connections, so I'm very excited. I hope you're not nervous or anything like that.
No, you make people feel very comfortable.
Good.
So, yes.
Well, for those of you that are home, Rachelle, do you want to tell them a little bit what you do as far as one of my favorite modalities of healing, CranioSacral Therapy? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Oh, and I have a dog. One of my dogs is with me. I travel with my dogs. So, and there she is. So.
Oh, I would be happy to talk about CranioSacral Therapy. Maybe Chloe could use some.
Chloe definitely needs some CranioSacral Therapy.
I can work on animals as well. So CranioSacral Therapy is a healing modality that works with the cerebral spinal fluid, and it was developed by an osteopath named John Upledger. So I trained at the Upledger Institute, and the idea is there's a third pulse in the body, which is the craniosacral fluid that runs from the tip of your tailbone, the sacrum, up to the top of your head, which is the cranium. So the fluid travels through the dura mater, which wraps around your spinal cord. So I'm able to sort of tap into that rhythm and notice where there might be some restrictions that can be gently released, which will help you feel better. It helps with attention deficit disorder. It helps with a lot of brain injuries. And what did it help you with? That's
everything. I'm a Reiki master, so I've had Reiki done plenty of times. I've had massage done so many times. Shiatsu is amazing. I know we've had Jill on the show with us.
She's awesome.
So she's amazing. But I wanted to try the CranioSacral Therapy because I heard so many good things about it. And I know a lot of it deals with, I think the best way you had described it to me when I was asking you when I was at your location, you said, picture it like a computer. Your body is like a computer, and basically what you do is you help shut it down and you reboot it. So all the old, whether it's emotional hurt or physical hurt, things that you hold on to that you don't even realize, that's the kind of stuff that you deal with and you help release. And I didn't realize I had so much junk just weighing down, a lot of times it was like you tapped into what I was feeling. It's not painful when you do this. It's just little compressions on certain areas of your body. And so certain things that you would do, you'd press and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I feel anxious. And so I knew once I had that anxious feeling, I knew that that was something that really needed to be released, and it was really hard for me to do it. So it was an amazing experience. I've gone to you quite a few times since for the CranioSacral Therapy, and it's like you walk out of there and you have that carefree, like, oh, such is life, that type of feeling, which for someone that like myself who suffers from major anxiety all the time is really difficult to feel that way. So you were able to help me get there. So
I happened upon CranioSacral Therapy by getting work done on myself, and I don't even think I realized how much anxiety I was holding on to until I had a few sessions. And I also noticed that a lot of people are holding on to things that may have happened even from birth. Birth trauma can be released that we carry throughout our lives, and we don't even realize that we're even in pain because it's all that we know. Right. So it's really interesting work and amazing.
Even I had spoken with someone who suffers from leaky gut, and she had, when she had her son, she ended up she was in and out of the hospital. She was diagnosed with so many different things after her son was born. And so she just kept on carrying a lot of, ended up being water weight. She just kept on just carrying it, and she was miserable, and she didn't know she was on a very specific diet. No restaurants for her, nothing, like everything has to be homemade, and she can only have a certain amount of this, nothing can touch anything. And a couple months had gone by, I didn't realize she was doing the CranioSacral Therapy. She ends up coming back, and I see her, and I noticed that she had lost some weight, and I said, "You look amazing. What are you doing? What's happening?" She goes, "Honestly, I've been doing CranioSacral Therapy. I've lost 50 pounds, and it was all water weight of just holding on and holding on." And so she swears by that now. And again, it makes her feel better. It's not just for weight loss, but for her, it was everything else, the emotional pain, like I said, of course, she's gluten-free now. She doesn't eat meat now. Like, just everything has to be completely 100% organic with her. And
I believe that the weight loss piece is kind of like a residual effect. So people may come to me for some other reason, but they will end up losing weight. I'm working with a couple of people now. One woman had lost 100 pounds. And another woman had lost close to that, and I'm working with another woman right now. And I think what happens is we have this need to feed because it's an anxious eating that happens. And when we release restrictions gently without pushing and pulling, I kind of just support the body in releasing these restrictions that people are holding on to. That's when you no longer have the anxiety that is forcing you to eat constantly. So that's how I believe it happens. And emotional releases can happen because as things happen to us, let's say you have an accident, and at the time of the accident, something very stressful is happening in your life. Well, that stress can get stuck in those tissues, and you go throughout your life and you have something you go to many doctors for, and you can't get rid of the shoulder pain. The doctor says there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. I don't understand. Migraines I've helped with and things like that. But once we can get into the tissue, just gently and gently helping that tissue release it, the emotion that you were holding on to is released, therefore the pain can be let go of. So
it looks like I need some of that right now. Just it's the constant. Now, say if someone didn't want to book a full session with you, is there anything you can show them at home watching that maybe you could do to me without me laying down and being 100% relaxed? Is there certain pressure points that you could use maybe on my arms or my hands?
I can talk about it.
Okay.
There's a couple of different things, and you talked about bringing the body into a still point, which that's what the reset is. So when I talk about that, what I'm doing is bringing your nervous system into the still place, so it can kind of reset itself, just like a computer. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can buy a couple of tennis balls and put them in a sock and tie the sock really tight so the balls are really close together. And when you lie down, you would put it on the occipital ridge of your head, which is not like not where you think it would feel good at the base of your spine, just a little higher up. It's like the widest point of your skull. And you just lay down on it for a few minutes, and that will help to stop the craniosacral rhythm so you can go into a still point on your own without any help. Now, if you have a friend or your kids even, it can really help with children quite a bit if you just hold their feet or their ankles. And if you're really sensitive, you do Reiki or something like that, you might actually feel the rhythm, and you can just gently encourage the rhythm to stop. But even if you don't feel it, if you just kind of hold the ankles or the feet and intend for that rhythm to stop, and just you bring yourself to a very calm place and just breathe and hold that person's ankles or feet, that could really help them
All about
stop
the energy.
the rhythm and reset.
Question for you. How long have you been doing this for?
Wow. I've been doing this for 10 years now. I started studying CranioSacral Therapy with the Ledger Institute for 10 years. There's a core pack of classes, so I've completed those. And now I'm specializing in brain techniques, so I've taken some brain classes through the Chickley Institute, which helps further my work with brain injuries and concussions and ADHD and all those things, anxiety that I also suffer from, so, you know.
It's funny because even getting ready and getting you here, you're like, oh, it looks like you need to come back and see me, huh? Because I'm drinking a coffee. Then, of course, I brought one of my dogs, so I'm distracted over that. And, you know, a lot of distractions, just like everybody has. So I just think it's funny. Now, I have a question for you. When I was receiving treatment from you, you actually put your fingers in my mouth. So what was that for?
Okay, so when I work with the skull, I can sense, so when we're born, they tell us our bones in our skull have been fused, but there's actually still sutures there. So there's still tissue between those sutures, and I can sense whether those sutures are really jammed up, and I have techniques to help bring a little softening into those sutures. So when I worked on your head, or when I work on anyone's head, if I'm having trouble with the techniques that I have to open those sutures, and things aren't moving, I don't give up. So I put some leather gloves on, and I'll go inside your mouth, and I can reach the bones inside your head. And sometimes the bones that are really jammed are the ones that are, you know, that the roof of your mouth area, and it's through intention and of course energy that helps to move that. But I find that inner mouth work is so detrimental for people with migraines or attention deficit disorder, things like that. And I notice once I open that space, then I can get everything else to move.
How was mine? Do you remember? Because I remember, and you're like, I'm going to have to keep on doing this.
Yeah, I do know that in this work that there is sometimes resistance, and it might not be a knowledge of resistance for the person that I'm working on. It's almost like a different part of you is resistant to heal. So I might have to use some dialogue to get you to soften your resistance, so we can, you know, make things open and feel better. And it's all about restrictions, because if, you know, things happen to us and we tense up like this, our jaws and our heads get all tense, and sometimes things get stuck if we're that way all the time. So if we could just like in yoga, if we just can create a little space, but this is in the skull and the spinal cord and those parts of your body. So
excellent, excellent. I mean, so how often do you think people should be receiving craniosacral therapy?
It depends on...
I would like to do it every day, personally.
Yes. It depends on what we're working on. I mean, we can find things, the more work we do, we can go deeper into the body. But what happens with craniosacral therapy is it'll bookmark. So the work we did together, if I haven't seen you in a few weeks, we will be able to start where we left off. But you may have added more to what we did, so we might have to backtrack a little bit to get forward.
I'll see you tomorrow. I mean, I think definitely I'll make an appointment. And
the best treatment plan would be weekly, bi-weekly, until we get you to a very good place, and then you will need to maintain it. So every 3 months or something like that we can go to after we've done, like, I recommend we do about 6 to 10 sessions really close together, and then we can space them out. So
just like a therapy, just like if you were going to a therapist, it's one of those things. So whether, I mean, you're still working with emotional struggle, emotional drainage, and so forth.
Yes, but I feel like the work that even I've done with myself or with my clients, I've seen life-changing events happen that talking would have never gotten you to. It would take 10 years of therapy, because it's actually not in your mind, it's actually in your tissues and your bones. So that's what's getting it to move. So.
Oh, I need that. I so need that.
Well, let's make an appointment.
I know. We need to. So if I was going to make an appointment, where are you located?
I have 2 locations. I work at the Whitman Wellness Center in Whitman, Mass. It's a beautiful yoga center.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
And I also work out of my home in East Bridgewater. So you would just have to contact me.
And how do people contact you?
You could email me at Rachelle333-888@gmail.com, or you could call me at 774-240-5839. You can message me on Facebook or like my Facebook page.
What's your Facebook page?
Advanced Healing Arts is the name of my business and the name of my Facebook page as well. I also have a website, and it is RachelleCroteau.com. So there's lots of ways to get in touch with me. You could call the Wellness Center.
You have the list. And obviously, if you guys didn't catch on to any of that, you can always contact me, and I can always get you in touch with Rachelle, because you absolutely do amazing work. And the first time I started coming to you was in the wintertime. This past winter, for all of you guys that are familiar with the Northeast, we got slammed with all the snow, and I had contacted her. I'm like, I need to get out of the house. I need to do something. So that's why I ended up coming to see you, and it turned into something that was just so beautiful, because I was an anxious mess, not just because of the snow, but just, you know, like we talk about things from our past and so forth, things that we hold on to that's not even in the forefront of our mind. And I thought I'd give it a whirl, and I came to see you, and it was absolutely amazing. I'm telling you, when I walked out of your house, I felt like $1,000,000. It was just, all right. And everything that I questioned, everything started to make sense to me.
Yeah, it brings clarity, I believe,
Absolutely.
Somehow.
Absolutely.
All that fog is lifted from your brain.
And in the beginning of every session that you do, what Rachelle does is she gives you it's a bunch of oils, and it's all different colors. And she says, okay, pick which one you're drawn to. So can you tell me a little bit about that? What's that for?
Yeah, I have, I was introduced to this modality. It's called Soma, and I'm not formally trained in giving readings in Soma, but I love color, and I really am interested in chakras. I can see the body as layers of energy and color and emotions that we hold in them. So each color in this pack of colors that I show you has meaning. So when you pick the color, it tells me a lot about what's going on for you. It tells me where I should focus my work. It tells me that you know what you need in order to heal, and it's really amazing. It's never wrong. Once in a while I'll get
It isn't, I'll tell you that.
Once in a while I'll get someone who doesn't they kind of use their mind instead of their intuition to pick the color, and they won't connect with the reading that I give them, but I'll let them pick another one, and it's always going to make sense for them at some point during the session. So it's really fun.
I always, whenever time she does it, I always turn away and I'll pick a color that way. And I always pick the same color. So I think the next time I come to see you, we need to, instead of having the colors in the rainbow fashion that it is, I think we should
mix them up for
just
you.
put them in a bag. And
or turn them upside down.
Yeah, I'll probably still pick the same colors, because it's always the same issues that I'm like, no, I don't want to let go of that yet. No.
Yeah, people don't want to pick the same color over and over again, but it might be it's just you're not done working on that color. That's all. That's all.
Exactly.
I know you want to know which each one is, but
I know, I do, because that's how I am. I like to overanalyze everything and figure everything out. So that's why I like to just look beyond and not be impressioned. But of course, it doesn't matter. The universe always works in mysterious ways anyways.
So you can look on my website to see what those look like. Or
Oh,
you
good.
could
There's
go
a picture
to,
of them on your website?
Yes, or you
Awesome.
could go to the Soma website to learn more about the Soma. They even have a little reading you can do online too, which is fun. But it's fun when we work with them together. I actually have 2 sets that we do, right? So
yeah. So now, your website, what is your website?
it's RachelleCroteau.com, RachelleCroteau.com.
I'm pretty sure we're going to be posting that at the bottom of the screen as well. And I know I just asked you that too, but sometimes it's nice to hear. And for those of you guys that are just tuning in, I know we're only doing a 30-minute show tonight, but I do have Rachelle Croteau on, a very good friend of mine, and she's out of Whitman, Massachusetts, and also East Bridgewater, Massachusetts. So there's certain ways that you can contact her for a CranioSacral Therapy. Also, something that's amazing, and I want to congratulate you on, is that you just became a certified yoga instructor.
Oh, yeah, I did last month. Oh, May 3rd.
May 3rd, yeah. So tomorrow, well,
it's the anniversary.
Yeah,
1 month.
Anniversary. Yeah, congratulations. That's something that, I mean, you have to put a lot of work, a lot of, it takes a lot. Do you actually need to be flexible to do yoga?
No, actually, I learned a lot about that myself. I had really never done yoga before I just entered into this program. I just did it a little bit here and there, but I felt drawn to learning how to do it and how to teach it, and
Right.
It was a beautiful journey, and I recommend that anybody who's feeling like they want to, even if you're not a pretzel, you don't have to be. I'm still not. There are poses that I definitely need to work on for myself, but anybody can do yoga.
Well, I figured I need to start doing it because I have enough yoga pants and yoga attire, so I definitely walk the walk.
You look like a yogi,
see,
right?
And see, now I just have to start talking the talk. I walk the walk, now I need to talk the talk. So I want to thank you so much for coming down here to the studio and talking about everything that you do. What you do is amazing work. CranioSacral Therapy, guys, you really have to check it out. Go to RachelleCroteau.com. Again, and on Facebook, it's Advanced Healing Arts. Is that correct? Is that your page?
It is Advanced Healing Arts. Like my page on Facebook, please.
Give it a like. Give it a like. And is there any events that you have coming up?
I will be teaching Reiki. I also teach Reiki, so I have Reiki 1 coming up the end of June. I'm teaching Reiki Master Teacher Certification next weekend, so
Amazing.
if anybody wants to be a Reiki Master. So
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being part of Spirit Connections with Tiffany Rice. And also, for those of you guys that are at home, you can find me on Facebook at Spirit Medium Tiffany, or you can go to tiffanyrice.com, Spirit Tiff on Twitter. Just type in my name, you'll find me. So I want to thank you. I'm so glad that I'm back, and thank you, Rachelle.
namaste.
Oh, namaste. Namaste. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.